All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
And
hello.
welcome to the Phys Ed Summit 3.0. We're so glad that you could join us. In fact, thank you so much for joining us for this 24-hour back-to-back global event. We could not make this happen without you. We are very humbled by the outpouring and the support and the promotion of the summit from each of you. By sharing with one person, you are able to impact hundreds of students. So thanks so much for that and being a part of this conference and trying to improve your practices. I just want to remind everybody that we are using technology. So whenever it is that we use technology, we know that there can be technical difficulties. And I'm going to quickly show you my screen, and I'm going to show you the Tozzle. So this is the Tozzle. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us over here. You're going to type in here. If there's a problem with the Tozzle, you're just going to click your top of your web browser here and refresh, and you should be good to go. If you're not, please let us know, and we will help you out with that. And we're so glad that you could join us today. And also, I want to just tell you a little bit about sorry. It's been a long day. After the summit,
It's been a long day. Give us a break. Yeah. Don't judge us.
After the summit, we will post the feedback survey to the Phys Ed Summit 3.0 homepage. We hope that you'll provide us with some great and excellent feedback for Phys Ed Summit 4.0, so it can be awesome. And once you do that, you'll be provided your professional development certificate. So thank you. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce my now Oregonian friend, Naomi Hartle, and here we go.
Thank you very much, Colin. I just want to say, before I even say anything else about myself, Derek just put, if you got paid for every time you gave this exact starting speech, you could probably take a year off if you wanted to. Yeah. We had a script, and we've all just kind of read the script the whole time. I think I have it memorized now. Yeah, money. So I'm Naomi Hartle. Thank you very much, Colin. I am a Canadian. Woohoo to all the Canadians. If anybody from Canada is watching right now, throw your hands up in the air and wave around like you just don't care, and put it in the Tozzle so that we know. It's been a long day. I am currently living in Oregon, and I am working with Spark Programs as a PE Development and Technology Specialist. I am also on the Oregon State Board of Directors as the Secretary. So I've been learning a lot of new things and just having lots of fun. And part of my job is I get to go and I get to present to teachers and, get them not hooked on, but get them working with social media and really understanding technology and how to use it in physical education in a way that's going to enhance student learning, because that's really the most important part, and make their lives easier. So this topic is a little bit close to my heart because it's part of what I do. And I've already given a shout out to the SPIA folks once already today, and they'll probably get another one later on. But this is my other t-shirt that I'm wearing today. And check out what the back title is called. Get Connected.
Nice.
Get it?
Nice. I gotta share my t-shirt too.
Yeah.
I love PE. Yes, representing.
We're all using our PE t-shirts. The one time I get to use them. And so I appreciate being here. And those of you that are staying up this late or got up this early or whatever time of the day it is to watch us. And I'll push it back to Colin Brooks to introduce himself a little bit more about what you do and where you're from.
Awesome.
We know you're from Oregon.
Yeah, thanks. I kind of forgot to introduce myself, so
okay.
I apologize. So yeah, as stated, I'm Colin Brooks, and I am an elementary physical education teacher from Bend, Oregon, and I am a national board certified teacher and the current president of Oregon Society of Health and Physical Educators, and a proud member of the Phys Edagogy and Phys Ed Summit crew. And we're just having a blast putting on this 24-hour conference for everybody. And, by the title, you obviously, and the description, you know what we're going to talk about today. And, a lot of you that are watching at 2 a.m. Eastern are diehards, right? But we'd also like this to be an advocacy piece for you yourself to share with colleagues of yours to kind of help them to further get connected and kind of share the social, just as what we're doing on social media and how there's just a fire that has lit and that is lighting our profession right now. So please share away. Okay, Naomi.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, if you're sharing with your colleagues, you probably want to skip the whole intro part. Just get to the good stuff. So skip to right now. So I'm gonna share my screen, and hopefully it works. And I know there's tunnel vision, so call and let me know if that is fixed.
We are loading. We're good to go.
Good? Okay.
Look at that. Look at that.
Right.
That looks good.
That does look good. Okay, so the title of our session, Get Connected, #PhysEd PLN. So we really, as Colin said, we really just want to show you a little bit about social media, kind of tell you about our stories, where we're coming from, and just giving you kind of a personal inside scoop into what social media is all about, how you can get involved. We had so many people sign up for the PhysEd Summit that we noticed didn't have Twitter handles, because when you RSVP'd, we asked if you had a Twitter handle or just an email address. And there's so many people that didn't have the Twitter handle. And I mean, I've met Colin through social media. I've met all of my physedagogy people through social media. Our whole group has gotten together because of the work that we've been doing together and how we've been able to connect using these different platforms. And we think it's powerful, and we want to share ways that you can get involved and who you can get involved with, and really just help push your journey through professional development and pushing best practices. So learn how to push your professional learning forward using social media. Perfect. I didn't even read off the screen. That's what I meant.
Nice.
And if you're following along or you're just starting to follow along, please use the #PhysEd Summit. If you don't know what that is, we'll show you later on. So you will learn, an introduction to Twitter, Voxer, Google+, how to connect with professionals within our online community, and what collaboration and sharing really looks like. Well, if you've experienced this whole PhysEd Summit today, that's what collaboration and sharing really looks like. So I don't think we really have to go into that one too much detail. You are up.
Okay. So just a little bit more about my story is, I am from Colorado, but I currently live in Bend. So, and you push the arrow, Naomi.
Oh, sorry. I was reading the back channel.
And yeah, I've just been over the last, I guess I've been teaching for starting year 9 right now. And I've been pretty involved with my state organization during that time. And it's been wonderful. So since the last few years, however, I've kind of branched out, and we'll talk about that here shortly, though. Go ahead, Naomi.
No, you can talk about that. I slipped. My finger slipped.
After the last few years, last year and a half, I guess it's getting closer and closer to 2 years. I took the dive onto Twitter, and it took a little bit of convincing from a friend of mine named Evan Godstiff, who's now teaching in South Korea, and just convincing me that maybe I should take a look at there and all the great things that are going on. And, it's something that I definitely resisted against, because I just thought that I would end up looking at people eating things, celebrities eating things, or showing, just what you think of just a stereotypical thing when you think of social media. However, I was pleasantly surprised, and it's definitely changed everything about, it's changed so much about who I am as an educator, and it's been amazing. And a little bit ago in the other presentation that Adam and I were doing, I was just talking about how you're able to, how you're kind of given a PLN, a professional learning network or community, and that's great and all. But with that comes certain things. However, it's never been an option until very recently that you've been able to choose your PLN, another PLN, and this is the one where you can kind of dive really deep into really like-minded individuals who are, really willing to just make big change into the our profession. Okay, that's enough chatting.
Sorry, I realized that I didn't have my screen clicked on, so.
That's all good.
Okay, you can let me know, folks, if you can see the screen now. Sorry about that. Well, they didn't see me messing up the slideshow, I guess.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead, Naomi. You can hit up the next slide there.
Okay. So a little bit about my story. So I'm originally from Saskatchewan, Canada, and I taught there for about 3.5 years. I taught in a larger school of about 2,000 students, 9 through 12. I taught grades 9 and grade 10. And then I moved to a smaller school of about 93 kids, K to 12 with about 10 staff. And so it was a big transition. I went from having a PE department of about 6, 7, or 8 folks to myself. I was the only person. I was teaching 3 through 12 phys ed, some math, some health, a little bit of everything. So it was a very interesting transition. And so what I found is that I was by myself. Who do I talk to? The teachers that I talked to, I had some, really close teachers of mine and colleagues and friends, but, they had families or it was busy. It was hard to get, a hold of them, or, I'd be driving 40 minutes to go meet with them on a weekend or after school, or it was really hard to meet. And so I had actually been on Twitter at the time, because when I was teaching at my big school, my basketball girls had actually signed me up for it. And I was like, this is really ridiculous. I was like, I don't need to be on Twitter. So I thought, well, hey, let's make the most of this opportunity. And when I, got on Twitter, I started searching phys ed. Like, let's see if there's just something on phys ed about phys ed, and let's see what happens. And I found Joy Fight of thephysicaleducator.com, and I found Jared Robinson, and I believe Matt Pomeroy was one of the first ones that I'd found as well. And those are some of the people that really influenced me early on with Twitter and with social media. And then when I moved to my small school, it kind of saved me. It got to the point where I was burning out. I was doing everything. I was coaching every sport. I was looking at 18 different curriculums, and it was hard. It was very, very hard. But the people on social media were the ones that were able to support me in ways that maybe my staff couldn't do that. And then I got involved with SPIA, which is, I guess, maybe it's a good thing I'm wearing my SPIA shirt right now. SPIA is the Saskatchewan Physical Education Association, and they brought me on board. So that's kind of like our, just like we have state organizations in the United States, in Canada we have provincial organizations, and that was our organization for the province. So they had noticed some of the work that I was doing through social media and through Twitter, and they said, hey, we'd love for you to be a part of what we're doing here. And I was like, yeah, how could I say no to this? So I jumped on board, and I ended up being the social media coordinator for them. And then I ended up moving to Oregon, where Colin had asked me to be a part of the Oregon Shape Board of Directors, and just working with them and, using some of the experience that I had from SPIA and coming here and doing that. And it's been an amazing experience. And and my job as well, Spark found me through social media. And I tell people all the time, I'm not saying you need to try and change your career by using social media, or use social media to try and change your career, because that was not my intent and that was not my path to start. But it's created really neat opportunities that have allowed me to connect with people, network, and that's where these opportunities have come from. Twitter and Facebook and Voxer, they're just platforms that we use. It's the people that we connect with, and from there, those opportunities are created. So it's been a really neat experience. And when I say this topic's close to my heart, it's because this is why I'm here. This is why I'm standing talking to you today, because of the opportunities that I've been able to take through social media and through my online community.
All right, so just talk a little bit about our story, the Phys Edagogy story. So Phys Edagogy was founded by Adam Howell, who teaches in Hood River, Oregon, who's originally from Michigan. But then what happened was he reached out to us in our social media, the Twitter PLN, and asked us to help him. And this happened over the course of a few years that we really started coming together, and really was, after we all got together, and with Bill Bodie too, was the birth of the Phys Ed Summit. So just a little bit about us. Obviously, we believe a little bit in crowdsourcing, and that's okay. And tapping into the collective knowledge of the profession who are active through social media. Okay.
And we're really about pushing best practices forward, right? That's part of our mission on the Physpedagogy website. And if you're just tuning in as well, please check out the Physpedagogy website. There's a lot of great blog posts out there that everybody's written up. I haven't blogged a whole bunch, so I'm saying check out their blog posts. It's something, it's on my to-do list. I have a blog post that's been sitting in limbo since January that I've been wanting to write about my transition. It just hasn't happened yet. But it's really about pushing best practices, and you know, it's a crowdsourced collaborative effort between all of us. Adam's the one who created the group, but you know, he's not, you do this here, you do this here, you do this here. It's a really collaborative group effort. And Jorge Rodriguez with the Voxcast, he had done a podcast with us. So if you want to know more about the story of Physpedagogy, you can always go there and check that out. And then the Phys Ed Summit. So you're obviously a part of the Phys Ed Summit today. And that came from, you know, Bill Bodie having a conversation, I think it was through Twitter, through Voxer. And he was just talking about this idea that he had about this organic, kind of like a, you know, an ed camp, this idea where teachers can kind of choose their professional learning, and the teachers drive their own learning. And Matt Pomeroy and I had been in this chat, and we'd been listening, and we thought, I remember, I don't know if Matt sideboxed me or I sideboxed him. We're like, we got to do this. Like, we got to have this conversation, and we need to do this together, like the Physpedagogy group. And they're like, well, Bill, this is Bill's idea. We need to bring him on with us. And that's where the Phys Ed Summit came from. You know, we you know, the logo is in the shape of mountains because we wanted, you know, a journey to the summit, right? Is what our goal is as teachers. You know, it's the professional development, growth, and the learning journey. So Twitter. So as I said, Twitter's kind of the reason why I'm here today. Well, Twitter's a platform that's allowed me to do a lot of different things. What is Twitter? So Twitter is basically like a mini blogging place where people can post messages, 140 characters. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail. Well, I guess we should go into a little bit of detail because people will be replaying this. So I'm going to show you what Twitter looks like. I'll actually show you the real Twitter because there are other platforms that you can use. So this is Twitter. And you can scroll through, this is my news feed, and you can just see what's all happening and what's all going on. And can you still see my screen, Colin?
Yes. Sorry, I'm back channeling. You're good to go.
That's okay. Somebody's distracting me right now. It's all good. So this is Twitter, and this would technically be like the news page. So this is my news feed, so I can see what's all happening. These are people that I'm following, and these are all the things that they're talking about. So I can go to my own page and view my profile, which is this one right here. So these are all the things that I've talked about or tweeted about. I have a profile, so you can check out my bio. I have a picture. When you first sign on to Twitter, if you want to sign on to Twitter, you can just go to www.twitter.com and you can just log into an account. We have a couple resources that we're going to share in a little bit for you to go through that step by step, because we really don't have enough time to get you onto Twitter. We could be here for the next 5 hours and making sure that you can sign up for Twitter. We just want to give you kind of the basics of what everything is, just so that when you get into it, you're somewhat familiar. I like it when people put a picture of something. It doesn't have to be you, because I know some people don't want their face. But when you first sign up, you get this little egg. And I'm always cautious of eggs, because in the past, eggs have always been people with a spam account. So if somebody follows me with an egg, I usually don't follow them back because I don't really know what they're about.
Yeah, so it's important to get that profile picture rolling so people know who you are. You know, yeah. It's an important part of it.
Yeah, and at least have a bio written about things that you're interested in. Have Phys Ed written in there, because I know, like, when I look and I see that somebody's Phys Ed, I'll follow them back. If they're not Phys Ed, I'm like, that's not really what I want to be. Like, I don't want that information on my newsfeed. I want information about Phys Ed because this is a professional thing for me. Yes, sometimes I talk about my dog and tweet about my dog, but most of the time you're going to get PE. So what is, like, let's break this down a little bit. So as you can see, I have a tweet out here that says, join at Colin Brooksy and I to learn how to get connected. Well, the at symbol. So when you put this little at symbol, as you can see, this is actually Colin's profile. And this whole piece right here is Colin's Twitter handle. So this is like his username, pretty much. This is what I know him by. People know me by, and I've had people come up to me and like, you're Miss Hartle, you're at Miss Hartle from Twitter. That's what people know you as. And I could click on this and it could go straight to his profile. So if I would send a tweet with at Colin Brooksy in it, it's mentioning him. So he would get a notification saying Miss Hartle has mentioned you in a tweet. So it's kind of like sending him a message, but it's a public message. There are ways that you can do a private message, and I'll show you that right away. I've also included a link to the toggle for people to check out, and then the hashtag. You may have heard people talk about hashtags. There's this really funny YouTube video with Jimmy Kimmel and Justin Timberlake where they're talking about like hashtag this, hashtag that. If you haven't checked it out, go YouTube it after this because it is hilarious. But a hashtag is basically a way to categorize a tweet. So if I would click on the Phys Ed Summit hashtag, you could check out what people have been talking about in regards to the Phys Ed Summit for the past how long. And actually, we are trending on Twitter too. And that doesn't happen very often. So the fact that the Phys Ed Summit is trending on Twitter, that is huge. And what does trending on Twitter mean? It means that hashtag is being used a lot, basically. So you can see, you can scroll through here and basically it categorizes your tweet. So anybody that uses hashtag Phys Ed Summit in their tweets are going to go to one area where you can check out what's all happening on that. There's so many different types of hashtags. There's different like EdChat hashtags. There are, I can't even think right now, but there are a whole bunch of different kinds that you can just search and find out. And to search for something, you can just type it in right here. Like if I want to search hashtag Phys Ed, we can see what's all happening with Phys Ed. I can click live to see what the live tweets are all about. And there we go. Perfect. There we go. Shout out to Kirsten Bender. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome.
That was pretty cool. That worked out well. Planned it. So there's different things that you can search for. Maybe you're a health teacher. You want to search health or health ed. Oh, not healther. Health ed and see what's happening with health ed and see if there are any tweets that are going on. And lots of times when I'm searching hashtags, this is how I find people that I want to follow. So Jill Warner, I'm pretty sure I follow Jill. I do follow Jill. Awesome. Right? I know she tweets about health because as you can see in her bio popping up, I'm like, what do you call this?
It's all right. You're doing great.
This little contact form that's popping up here. You can tell it says health teacher, water sports enthusiast, and book lover. Tweets are my own. So I know that she's a health educator. Well, I taught health when I was teaching, so I'm going to make sure that I follow her because she looks like she's got some good stuff that she's going to talk about, right? So that's a pretty cool thing. Also on the bottom of each of your tweets here, so if this is somebody's tweet that they had just tweeted out, there's a bunch of different things here. So this is a reply. So Andrew Milne said, did you miss us for his Phys Ed Summit? So he's tweeting about the Phys Ed Summit here. So I could reply to him and be like, yes, I did. So excited to check it out, or whatever I wanted to say, and I could send that. I could also add a picture to it if I wanted to. I could add my location. There's so many different things that you could do with it. I could retweet it, which means that basically I want my followers to see this tweet. I think this tweet is so important that I'm going to retweet it so that my followers can see it as well. Because some people that follow me may not follow Andrew, and I want them to see that tweet. And I can also favorite it. Now the favorite is usually kind of just some way to kind of archive some tweets that you really enjoy. For me, it's kind of just become like a like button similar to the one on Facebook. If I like it, I'm going to favorite it. I don't know how many favorited tweets I have. It's pretty ridiculous. Let's check. Let's find out how many tweets I have. Oh, maybe you can't. Oh, there you go. 6,264 favorites.
You are a very positive person.
I go a little crazy with my favorites. Let's just put it that way.
It's good. It's good.
You can also check how many people are following you, how many people you follow, and how many tweets you have. I tweet a lot, as you can tell. I've been doing this for about 4 years, so I feel like that's maybe justified. I don't know. And then notifications, right? So it tells you when somebody's mentioned you in a tweet, right? I've been mentioned there. Colin Brooks has been mentioned there. Also, messages. So you can direct message. Now, this is a private. So maybe you want to send a message to somebody that you don't want anybody else to see. if you've seen the movie, or if you've, went to see the movie Chef in theaters, I recommend watching that movie. For one, it's absolutely amazing. And two, there's a really funny part about Twitter and how he tweets out, he puts out this public tweet that he probably should have sent in private because it started trending on Twitter. And it wasn't a very good tweet. He put a few swear words in that. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so that's a very quick overview of what Twitter is all about. Now let me get back to
that was very good.
Thank you, Colin.
Well done.
And then here's just a couple of resources. So Colin, did you want to go through the resources?
Yeah, I'll go through those resources. So, you know, Joey has a really good slideshow, right, Naomi? And it's available, correct? Yeah, Joey's got a really good slideshow, and you know, we're gonna throw it in the Tozzle too. And it's great for getting people connected. We've had a couple of people ask, like, you know, how can I help encourage my my PLN or my other educators, physical educators at my school to get involved? This is a good way. And this is a very good resource from Jared Robinson, who is the PE Geek, pegeek.com. And he has the 14-day Twitter challenge is awesome. If you use it and stick to it, it's a really good way to ease you into things and get you going in the right direction. If you give this to a colleague, I've given it to several, and I think it's great, and they're excited. Just, if I were you and you really wanted to encourage, just follow up with them, you know, every couple days, and just ask them how it's going, because, you know, we're all busy, and you kind of get to this point using social media where it kind of clicks for you. You see something, and maybe that it might not happen quickly for some people. So yeah, I just keep encouraging them, you know, every couple days or whatever, just to see how they're doing. So, but yeah, that's a good resource, and you know, we also will add that to the Tozzle. So furthermore, there is a weekly Twitter chat schedule. Now, this link right here is for every education Twitter chat that is available on Twitter. It's an unbelievable resource in the amount of time that went into it. And I apologize, but I can't remember the guy's name who made it. But it's just a fantastic resource. Every single Twitter chat. The Twitter chats that are for physical educators are.
And a Twitter chat is basically where you have a conversation with people at a designated time. And it's kind of like this, right? But only instead of it's like live on here or in the back channel, basically what you're doing with the back channel is what you would do with tweeting, only you'd use a certain hashtag to categorize that tweet, and then you could follow that hashtag.
Exactly. Thanks for adding that detail. Yeah, it's a talk. It's a professional development talk. It's just about specifically PE chat here that we're talking about. You know, it's always focused around best practices and specifically for physical education. So it's you know, a lot of people either listen or they participate. You know, like there's a lot of people that just watch, and that's perfectly acceptable. So PE chat moves a little quicker. However, the next one we're going to talk about is Slow Chat PE, and this is Justin Schleider, and he's an elementary physical education teacher from New Jersey, and he's very active on social media and a great advocate for physical education. He's everywhere.
He has more tweets than me. And he's earlier, last year's than I was like, how does he have that many tweets?
Yeah, he gets after it, and he's an advocate for us. So the way that Slow Chat works, Slow Chat PE, that's okay, is that he asks a question, and it's a question all day. So it's a slower conversation, and you can go back to it. It's a really good way, and it's a good way to ease you into talking about, you know, using Twitter as a tool for professional development with that conversation. All right, do you want to talk about these dudes?
Sure, yeah, so the elementary phys ed chat happens every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And this is put on by Ryan, Rich, and Matthew. And the s'more is there for you to check it out and see what's all happening. You could tweet either one of those folks there, and they'll be more than happy to help you out. But it's really just elementary focused. And I think they have their whole schedule planned out for the next couple months, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. And I hope that link is still, I'm hoping they still use that. They I don't know if they've created a website or not. So I'll make sure I research that a little bit further, and we'll go from there. So
yeah. So now we're talking like very specific to one group of physical educators, you know, K through 5. So and they all three of those guys mentioned right there do such an awesome job. So I recommend that you check that out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Voxer. So Voxer, let's just put it this way. Voxer has saved the Phys Ed and Phys Ed Summit team so much time, and maybe taken up a lot of our time. But it is in planning for the Phys Ed Summit. This is what we use. When we first started planning for the Phys Ed Summit, we emailed each other, and then we would always try to set up a Google Hangout. And there'd always be times where somebody couldn't meet because, I mean, there's 7 of us, and to try and set up a meeting, it was chaotic. And then this Voxer app came out, and what Voxer is, it's a mashup between a voicemail and a walkie-talkie, kind of all together in one. And it allows you to send voice texts. It allows you to send audio messages, text, pictures, and now it allows you to do video as well. So it's just a really neat little app, and everything's housed in it. We actually have like a 3.0 presenters chat that happened for the Phys Ed Summit, just so that we could communicate with people, because again, it's the summertime, not everybody checks their email. And I always tell people too, like, this would be a neat tool to use with your staff. One of the teachers, when I was presenting, had told me how they used Voxer on their field day. All the teachers had a smartphone, but none of the teachers had a walkie-talkie for the group to use. So they used it just to Vox each other and have conversations about what was, okay, so this is happening over here. I need 2 more people over here, or I need a rake at the long jump pit, or, different things like that. So I thought that was awesome. A really cool way to use Voxer.
Yeah. And I heard of a group of educators or a classroom building doing a book study together, and they would, talk about that book on Voxer as well. So there's like so many different ways. As Naomi was saying, it's such a powerful collaboration tool. And Naomi and I were actually talking a little bit ago, and we talked about, and I think Adam was there too, that we don't, like, how often do you check emails? I mean, hardly ever. Hardly ever.
During the work week.
It's my worst, or it's my least favorite thing to do. You sit down and you write it, and it takes 5 minutes, and you read it, and you're like, well, maybe I should wait. But so this is just a fantastic tool for streamlining. I do recommend that you try to organize your conversations a little bit. And I also just want to say, some of the large there's huge groups and there's small groups. Just some of the larger groups can be overwhelming. So that might be a group that you check without leaving your notifications on. But with the smaller groups, finding a smaller group of individuals, like a smaller PLN to have great conversations with, there's nothing really powerful. And it really, like, for us in the Phys Ed Summit team, it streamlines our work so much. Like, things get done in like a minute after someone asks us to do it, as opposed to, if you were to, write someone an email, you're waiting maybe up to a day. So
yeah. And sometimes you can't wait a day. I mean, everything can wait a day, but.
Yeah, well, it's hard. We want things done now, right?
Yeah, and especially in the world that we live in right now, if I want info, I go to Google and I Google it, right? I was watching the puberty session, and she was saying how most kids nowadays won't ask a parent or a teacher if they have questions about puberty and growing up and things like that. They'll Google it. And she's like, how many people self-diagnose themselves by Googling something? And I looked at Adam and I was like, I do that all the time. I always Google everything, right? So when I want information, I want it instantly. Now, is that a good way to be all the time? No. But
yeah, there needs to be a balance.
There needs to be a balance. But in the morning, if you wanted to get a hold of me, tweet me, Vox me, or send me a Facebook message, because those are the 3 things I check first.
Exactly.
If you would like to wait for a message, send me an email. I will get back to you hopefully soon, but I will check my emails. But those are the 3 things I check first, because those are the ones that just are different for me.
So are you saying that email is the new snail mail?
Oh my goodness. You just heard that here, folks.
Oh,
we
man.
just, yep, we coined it. Yep, right there. Write that down. This is a moment in time. I like that. Oh, that's a powerful thought.
Okay.
How crazy
Yeah.
technology moves.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. So
Yeah. So with Voxer, so some of you may be saying, okay, cool, but I don't get it, right? How do I get onto it? Where do I find it? Where do I go? So if you're looking for this, you can download Voxer on the Android store or so the Google Play Store, as well as through the iTunes Store. So you can get it on Apple and on Android. I don't know if you can get it on a Windows phone. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But those are two places that you can go for it. And you just sign up for an account and you put your email address in. There are some great resources. So rather than us trying to go through here and show you step by step by step, because we only have a certain amount of time, there are some amazing resources that have been created for you. We don't have them on here now just because this was a little bit of a last minute presentation. Had to fill a gap. But we will put those in the Tozzle for you to check out. And actually, I might be able to check something out here right now. I think it's just physed.com. I think he's got some. Nope, that's not it.
is it physed.us?
.us. Yeah, go Colin. Okay.
There we go.
Now he has some info on here about Voxer specifically, and it's supposed to be like a.
And another great, we have that big Google, I think that Justin Schlatter made. It's a big Google Doc, right?
Right. So that's in here too. So that's why I was pushing people here, because it shows everything. So
Awesome.
Here's a video created by Joe Bailey about how to get in Voxer, what to do, how to get everything set up. So if you don't want to listen to the rest of her presentation, you just want to get on Voxer, go for it. And then there's also this PE Voxer group. And this is amazing because this is all the Voxer groups that Colin was talking about, where there are quite a few different ones. And I think they keep this updated pretty regularly. But there's so many different kinds. I mean, you can be in a group and talk about solo taxonomy. If you don't know what that is, Joe Bailey is doing a session in the morning, or I should say in the morning, at 7 a.m. Eastern time. There's teaching games for understanding. Maybe you just learned about teaching games for understanding today and you want to learn more and you want to have more conversations about that. Talk to Lynn Burrows. So all you have to do is Voxer. How do you do that? Joe Bailey will show you in that video. Right? Maybe you're part of a state organization. You want to know more? Justin Schleider's got a chat going on about that. So it's just a really great resource tool that these folks created.
It's amazing. And it's like with Twitter and with Voxer, the community is unbelievable in how kind and gracious they are and how accepting, like they want you to be there. We want, you know what I mean? We're just like, let's jump on this bandwagon of, us coming together more as a profession. I mean, everyone's there and wanting you to be part of it. So if you contact them, they're all about it for sure.
Mm-hmm. So Joe had a question. Says Voxer is cool, but does it have any advantages over simply group texting or sending a voice text via iPhones? No, it's the same thing. But all of your physical education teachers are in different chats. So rather than you trying to create a separate chat on your phone for certain things and keeping track of it, it's all in this one app. And really, I kind of like to say PE teachers have taken over Voxer because I feel like that's probably true. I really like to know the stats from Voxer.
Yeah.
Voxer, if you're listening, please tell us. But there's so many PE teachers in there with so many different groups, and that's where I think Voxer has an advantage over just a text messaging system of some sort.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I would add that it's very quick to find people, and you don't need anyone's number, and you can look up anyone that you want, and you don't. I mean, it's more of a professional thing. Whereas if you were texting someone, it would. I mean, it's just a little different, but it's definitely faster than doing those group tests or even the voice text systems that are set up on iPhones, and at least iPhone. I can speak for iPhone. Isn't nearly as good as it is on there.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Google Plus and Hangouts. And there's a picture from our past Phys Ed Summit 2.0. So Google Hangouts, did you want to talk about this one, Colin?
Sure, I can start it. Yeah, for sure.
Sure, okay.
So, I mean, obviously you're right now that you may know you're watching a Google Hangout. So yes. So Google Hangout is part of Google Plus, and well, in a way, right? So
Yes.
essentially, it's a group video chat, and with Google Hangouts, you can do an on-air live Google Hangout like we're doing right now. And at the completion of the Google Hangout, it goes to your YouTube channel, and for viewing that can be public or can be private. It's your choice. So say, for instance, this year, I'll give you an example that worked out really good as a private video. I had an interview with some people that are coming to my school of professional development, and I had an administrator that couldn't be there. So we taped the Google Hangout, we recorded it, and then I sent the other administrator that link to our conversation about the professional development they were bringing, and then they can see, and we answered their questions during that conversation as well. So there's lots of uses for live Google Hangouts. You can also do what's called just a Google Hangout, and essentially that's just a group conversation with up to 10 other people. And this is another great way. This is kind of like the next level, and you know, just face to face, or not face to face, but you know what I mean, as close as we
Face
can
to screen.
get.
I call it face to screen. Yeah.
Face to screen conversations with individuals, and yeah, it's something that I use not as much as those other tools, because the other tools are really quick and easy to access, and Hangouts are pretty easy, but you know, you can't do it on the go quite as easily.
Yeah.
But it's such a powerful tool, being able to have several people in a conversation. Great way to run, you know, meetings with, you know, from people from different parts of your state, or you know, for us, for the Phys Edagogy or the Phys Ed Summit team, a great way for us to debrief on certain things, and you can share documents, anything on your Google Drive. It's so, yeah. Naomi, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah. Did you mention about having 10 people?
I did mention 10 people,
Okay.
but it's okay.
Really, I wasn't paying attention. So
That's
the difference between, so what's the difference between Skype and FaceTime and Google Hangouts is that Google Hangouts, you can access or have up to about 10 people in a chat for free. The only thing is you need a Google Apps account of some sort. You don't need to have a Google Plus account. You just need to have a Google Apps account. And what I mean by that is some schools are Google Apps for Education school. So you should know if you're Google Apps for Education school. Now, if you're Google Apps for Education school, some districts have blocked the ability to use Hangouts, so you just can talk to your IT folks if that's what you would like to use. Now, they'll have reasons as to why they've blocked it, but if you have a Gmail account, then you can definitely access Google Plus Google Hangouts or Google Hangouts on Air, and that's what we're using. There are a lot of resources, and I will share that. I'll make sure we share like a resource document in the Tozzle with Google Plus and how to get started and what to look for and different things like that. So, yeah, that's kind of Google. I don't know why I got out of that, but that's Google Plus.
Awesome.
And Hangouts. And the cool thing with Google Plus or with Hangouts is that you can do a lot of things in your here. This is why I changed my screen, because I want to actually show you. There are a couple different things that you can do. Hopefully I don't get tunnel vision. Yeah. So that's tunnel vision, and sometimes that happens, and I don't know why it happens.
No one knows.
Please ignore the tunnel vision right now. Pretend, just put your hand over top of that part of the screen. But on the left-hand side, you can watch a YouTube video with people within your chat, right? So you can have a whole playlist and play different videos. You can set up the lower third, like Colin and I had at the bottom of our screens. You can share your screen, which is really neat to do. You can't really do that on FaceTime or Skype unless I think if you have a pro account or something. You can have questions and answers. So maybe you're doing a live webinar like we are. Now we have everything in the Tozzle, but maybe you want people to ask questions. You can have a bar on the side that has a question and answer portion of it, and answer and ask questions right in the Hangout, and you can see it, which is really neat. There's some little crazy things. You can draw pictures on each other. There's some Google effects where you can do like different like claps, like hey, or like you ask a question, no one answers, and it's like you can do a cricket sound. There's a bunch of fun little things here. Google Effects. This is the best one to use when you're showing people Google Hangouts, because everybody just goes crazy and has fun with things. So you can choose different faces, and you can do, again, ignore the whatever you call it stuff, but yay. And then if I ask Colin a question, he doesn't answer.
Yeah, that's
It's like
how it normally is.
awkward.
I'm used to that.
So just different fun things that you can do. There's also some really interesting, oh geez, okay. There's actually an app in here and it's called Uber Conference. So say you have like a meeting and you have more than 10 people. Well, you can have 10 people jump in live, but you can also have some people call in, kind of like those conference calls that I'm not a fan of the conference calls, and I just kind of learned what they are because I never had to do that as a teacher because I don't know the faces. I like seeing faces of people. I like knowing who I'm talking to, and when you don't know the people, you're like, hey, that voice matches. I don't know who that voice is, right? So Uber Conference is just a great way to get people to come in with if you need more than 10 people. It's a great way to work around it. Okay, I'm going to go back to here so we don't have that crazy tunnel vision. Okay, now I was hoping we'd have the opportunity to get some people to jump into the Hangout and show them a little bit about it, but I don't know if we're going to have time for that.
We ended up talking the whole time, didn't we?
Sorry.
No, that is okay.
That always happens.
That is okay. Naomi, you can share this. You go for it.
No, you created it. Well, okay. Well.
Sure, we can both share.
You say your version, I'll say my version. There you go.
Okay, well that's a great idea. So I would say we're both really firm believers in the growth mindset, and this is something that we discuss with our students on a daily basis, whether we call it the growth mindset or not. This is just a good visual for that. Frequent attempts in learning, and just think about taking a risk with social media, taking small steps, and if something doesn't work out, well, that's all right. So that's just part of the learning process. And whenever we take risk, that's when we grow the most as human beings. And I just like to tell everyone that's what's happened with us in our group and with myself. I just have been so fortunate to be able to be surrounded by so many great colleagues that inspire me every day. And it's because I was able to I went for it and took that risk.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I just want to say the graphics are all Colin there too, other than I added the little birds to it. So I just have to give Colin. Everyone's like, oh, where'd you get that poster from? Yeah, tie it all together. So for me, growth mindset is a huge piece. When I was teaching this past year I guess it would have been about a year ago when I first started teaching, that was kind of one of the focuses I wanted to do with my students. Time and time again, kids are scared to fail. And kids are scared to make mistakes and look silly. And, because some kids can be a little bit mean about things. But, if it becomes part of your environment in your classroom, I think kids are going to be a lot more willing to make those mistakes. And I think if you can show that you're being vulnerable, then they know that if the teacher's being vulnerable, I can be vulnerable and it's going to be okay. So the word fail, when I first heard about this word, well, it was just the word fail, and my students kept saying it to each other. When somebody would make a mistake and they'd yell fail at each other, and it would always drive me crazy because I'm like, I've always known, you need to fail in order to learn, because that's how you grow. You reflect on what you've done and you push yourself forward from that, right? You try not to make the same mistakes again. And it drove me nuts. And then on Twitter, I saw this phrase, and it was actually first attempts in learning. And then it progressed to being frequent attempts in learning. And I loved it so much. And I remember one day, I had heard about this and I was like, yes, I'm going to get my students with this real good, right? This is going to be a good learning lesson for everybody. And one of the students made a mistake. And it was the one kid who always yells fail at everybody else. So I felt justified in doing this. And I yelled fail at him. And all the kids were just like, Miss Hardy, you can't. What? Like, Miss Hardy, you're telling us not to say that. So then I went in and I started telling them, fail means frequent attempts in learning. If we're not failing, we're not growing. And if we're not growing, we can't push the boundaries, step out of our comfort zone. Because the comfort zone, when you step out of the comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. And which is another picture we should have pop up. And if you Google that, you can find it. But I think talking to our students and creating that environment is important. And then for me, when it came to social media, every day I would come into my gym and be like, guess what, folks? All right, guess what, kiddos? I have something new today, and guess where I learned it? They're like, Twitter, you learned it on Twitter. They'd roll their eyes, right? But they knew that I was so excited about this new idea. And sometimes it failed, and sometimes it bombed, and we'd have a conversation about it, but they saw me being vulnerable and they saw me failing. And I think it's important that if you take anything away from what we talked about today, is to try something new and take those risks and fail at them in order to learn and in order to grow. Because I think it's so, so important. And I mean, I don't want you to go out like expecting to fail at everything, but I think it's important that that's the growth mindset that we bring into our classrooms with our students.
Awesome. Well, you know, great. So this right here, we have a, there's, first of all, I want to preface this. This is not an exclusive list, or this is not like a who's who list. It's just a list that we recommend that if you haven't checked out, you check them out. This is a good place to start if you're getting started on Twitter. These are people that are very active. So yeah, we'd recommend that to you. Mm-hmm. And also, I'd like to add that, you know, we don't advocate that social media is the only way to learn or to push our profession forward as physical educators. And just want to mention that if you're not on social media, that's okay. And if you know what I mean, this is just another avenue for you to explore in developing yourself as just at the next level as a professional. So,
right. Yeah. And when we say get connected, it doesn't always mean online. Right? There's lots of things about, you know, out there about the connected educator and what that means. And what I always hear is that it's social media and it's, you know, Voxer and it's Twitter and it's all this different stuff. And that's, like Colin said, that's one avenue. But I think getting connected is collaborating with teachers, crowdsourcing resources, working with somebody else other than yourself, and working with somebody other than just within your phys ed department. Right? Get out there and talk to new people and meet new people. And I think the Phys Ed Summit is a great platform to do that, because you're having so many different back channel conversations with people all over the world. You know, we've already seen the power of what people from other areas of the world can teach us, right? And what we can teach them. So I think it's really important that we get connected with people all over the world. And social media is really just one avenue for you to do that. And for the reason, and I mean, Colin said this too, we're showing this because this is kind of what's worked for us and has helped us in places that maybe we weren't supported, or at least for me, that's kind of how I felt with things. And it's got me to where I am now. But again, it's, you know, it's the people. And that's what getting connected is all about.
Yes. So thanks for joining us, everyone. And like we said, yeah, if you're watching this live, or, you know, you look at the Physedagogy or the Phys Ed Summit conference program, and you know some colleagues that would love to hear about getting started on Twitter and what it's done for Naomi and I, and what it's done for you, I think this might be a good place for you to start. So yeah, thanks for joining us at, what time are we at now? It is getting close to 3 a.m. Eastern. Mm-hmm. That is an impressive time. So thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah,
and
I'm up for,
right through.
Yeah, I'm up for one more hour here. Yeah, I'm moderating the next back channel with Lika, so that'll be exciting. But yeah, thank you so much for everybody that was able to stay and participate and back channel. And if you have any questions about any of the things that we talked about, please let us know. We're more than willing to help out and support. And I haven't been able to check out the back channel the whole time. I talk too much, but it looks like you have a great group of people there that are supporting each other. And I think somebody had just said, somebody from, I want to say Spain, but I probably totally read that wrong, and just got on Vox or something. I'm like, woohoo! We reached one. We got one person. Yeah.
There's some decent chat going on, so that's great.
So thank you very much for participating. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the conference, or sleep.
Yes. Either or. Slam. Bye.